Hey everybody, it is Sunday afternoon and we've already been to church, we've been to lunch, we came back home. That's another video. All I can say is portion control is key. So the weight loss tag video is circulating around. I believe that came from Let's Get Fit with Sandy at first, and I was listed in the channels that were going to be tagged, it looked like, from Laura's Grotto. So those are two channels that I watch as often as I can, and I'm going to put both of their links below. If you would, I really encourage you to go and check them out and tell them I said hi, encourage them on their journey. They're just two channels I think that you would enjoy. And right off the bat, I'm going to tag two channels. I'm going to tag Mother of One, and I'm going to tag Unstuffing MaryAnn Dunham. And so I hope I got those right. I'm going to list them below. Those are two other channels that I really enjoy watching, and I don't believe they've done the tags yet. So here we go. All right, so number one, without further ado, when did you start gaining weight? I would have to go back to, I was pretty active as a child, very active, and as a teen and even in college I rode my bike everywhere, so I really never had to deal with a lot of weight gain. But the time I started packing it on, of course, when I was pregnant with our eldest, everybody gains weight when they're pregnant, so it's like, does that really count? But I mention it because I actually gained all of my allotted pregnancy weight within the first 3 months. The reason why was because I was overeating, and I used it, being pregnant, as a license to eat more. I thought, oh, you always hear that, you're eating for two. I was eating for like 3 or 4, so apparently I started gaining a lot of weight. And the doctor sent me to the dietitian, and they put me on that 1,500 calorie a day diet, which actually made me more hungry because it was like orange juice, cereal, and toast for breakfast, which is like, and then low fat milk. So it was like carb, sugar, carb. It's like, how's that? I don't even think there was an egg involved, and that was just not going to work for me. But so what I ended up doing was I followed that as much as I could. I started reading other books and trying to just make a nice, well-rounded menu. And then now this is the late 80s, I was doing aerobics. So I took an aerobics class. And that was so funny because I was like this big pregnant woman in leotards doing the aerobics, right? And then when I was like too embarrassed to go out with my huge belly and do it in the class, because it was actually co-ed, so there were men and women doing the aerobics, and so I just got some aerobic videos from the library, and then I would do it at home. Or my aerobic instructor had made a cassette tape back then. We had cassette tapes and of the music that we watched, so I knew the routine, and so then I would just do that at home. So I did keep the weight off for the remainder of my pregnancy, but then when our eldest was about 1.5 or 2 years old, I had an in-home daycare center. It was licensed. It was on the base. My husband was in the Air Force. And the kids were kind of picky at times. And so they would, not eat a lot of the stuff that I made. And then I didn't want to waste it. So here I'm trying to make these very nutritious meals, and they didn't want it. So I was like, that's okay, I'll finish it. And I noticed now all the mirrors in my house were like up to the waist high. And so I tend to gain weight bottom heavy first, and I never really noticed what was happening to me. And then one day in a Christmas picture, I was actually on the floor sitting there helping my son open his presents, and my bottom half and my legs were like huge, and I was like, what is going on? When did this happen? And so I decided this was just not going to do. And I ended up finding the low carb diet back then, and I lost weight with the low carb diet. and skating, and then after work I would go walking, and then I was really trying to stay on track, and it just, the weight came off like that. I was much younger, so it was a lot easier. And so, that was really funny. But yeah, that's when I first started gaining weight. Now, long story short, let's just go on to the next question. Number 2, are you an emotional eater? No, I wouldn't say that I am. I would say that I have been, I have tried to eat a couple of times when I was highly emotional, but I usually catch myself. And it usually hits me that I'm looking for that serotonin fix. I'm looking for something that's going to make me feel better at the time, and I can usually redirect myself. But anyway, that's that. Number 3, how long have you been dieting? I want to say it really started back then with that low carb diet. And, just kind of, after I had success with that, I really, looked around and said, gosh, there's so many diets, there's so many different ways that you can lose weight, because there's not one way that you can do it. You can do it a myriad of ways, and so sometimes that could be a detriment, I think, because we're bouncing around so much from one thing to another. But yeah, so it started back then. Number 4, are you following a diet now? I don't look at it as a diet now. I look at it more as a change of lifestyle. I know you've heard that before, but the thing is that there was a point some years ago. Well, let's say, I don't want to go too far back because I've tried so many things, but back when one of the last, I want to say, fad diets or lifestyles, whatever you want to call it, when I did OMAD, I did 1 meal a day. And I really liked it. I liked that I felt so much in control about OMAD, 1 meal a day. I liked that I didn't have to think about food for 23 hours. And then for 1 hour, I would eat. And I ate whatever I wanted. And then I would usually go to sleep because of what I ate. But I think what was so sad was I missed eating with my family. I missed a lot of social things, opportunities, and I missed eating. I like to eat, and I didn't like being hungry for a large part of that time. They say that you shift over, and you do to a certain extent, but you still are kind of hungry, and I didn't like that. So I started introducing another small meal, and then eventually it stopped working for me. So I said, you know what? I need to develop a lifestyle. I need to develop something that I could live with for the rest of my life. And I know it's not going to just happen, so I need to be on that path looking for what that is. And I believe that's where I am now, is forming healthy habits for the long term. And so I don't really look at it as dieting. So anyway, and what I'm doing now is I've switched from Weight Watchers to iTrack Bites, and I'm following presently the classic bites, which would be it's like the Smart Points program, and it's portion control, minded. But it works really well with me. I still am considering the Points Plus program because I have a lot of friends who are doing that, and I may experiment with that. So I'm still looking into that, though. I'll let you know. All right, the next question. Have you had success in the past? Yes, I have. I've had success with iTrack Bites, with Smart Points. I really can't say that my experience with freestyle was very successful, even though I know that it works for so many different people. For me, I ran into too many obstacles with that. I've also had success doing low carb in the past, OMAD in the past, but those, I don't see those as long-term sustainable way of lives for me. And then also summersizing. Now, summersizing was a diet that was about food combining and separating and timing your food, and it was really great because you could have everything. You just couldn't have it all together. And the thing about that is that sometimes you just want a burrito or a taco without having to dissect it and eat pieces of it and then come back to the rest of it later. It's like, I just want to eat normal now, so that it's a wonderful program, but that's why I ended up not doing that. Let's see. Do you follow a workout plan? I don't really follow a workout plan. It's just my own doing. I kind of go with what my body needs at the time. It's my own put together plan, I guess, would it be? You know, I try to get 2 miles of walking in or running in every day. And then in addition to that, I do, you know, I lift weights, pretty moderate weights, at least 3 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week. And then on top of that, if I feel like, you know, I might add in a bicycle ride or trampoline and rebounder work, things like that. So I try to stay pretty active. We have young kids. They like me to play with them. So, you know, we just kind of go with the flow. And if we feel like doing something, we'll do it. But pretty much that is in addition to the walking and the weightlifting. I consider that to be pretty mandatory to me. So anyway, sometimes I do yoga. I might do Pilates if I can get in to have a class because they're always so filled up. Okay, next one. Let's see. Number 7, what is your favorite diet? I kind of answered that in the other question. Definitely, I trek bites, summer sizing, you know, those things. Number 8, how much weight do you want to lose? All in all, I have lost about 50 pounds at my heaviest, from my heaviest, and then now I am down to the last 12 or so, and so until I hit goals. So those are really difficult for me though, and I've been through menopause. I'm going to be 53 this year. It hasn't been, you know, too easy to do this, and my body just loves to fight me at the set point that it wants. So but I'm going to keep going. I'm still going, and because what else can you do except try to succeed, right? Okay, number 9, do you feel like you're addicted to food? I don't feel like I'm addicted to food, but I feel like I can get addicted to certain types of food, and one of them is definitely sugar. Sugar is something that I love, and I have a place for it in my life, and I do have it from time to time, but I really need to keep it under control. I am like hypersensitive. Sugar is like that uncomfortable person that sits next to you on the bus. You're always aware that you're there, they're there, and you're always aware of how close you are to them, and you're aware of where your arms are so that your hands don't meet too intimately. And sugar is my friend on the bus that comes with me sometimes, once in a while, but we try not to get too intimately involved because then there could be a lot of trouble. All right, number 10, are you comfortable with your body now? Yes, most emphatically, yes, I am. It took me a long time. I used to be one of those people that compared myself constantly to other people and to other things. And it's taken me a long time, but I've come to the place where I know I'm always going to be improving because I don't want to ever stop trying to improve myself. But at the same time, I realize I need to be in a happy and peaceful place and realize that I am fearfully and wonderfully made and that I am a miracle. And I need to enjoy that as well, where I'm at, and it'll make my journey that much happier and more exciting to improve myself. So I am very happy with where I'm at as well, even though I'm looking for the improvement, and I'm going to come down those last 12 pounds. Number 11. Do you deprive yourself of any food? I only deprive myself of the things that I'm allergic to or intolerant of. Things like walnuts, I will still have some, but in very limited amounts because they give me horrible cold sores, and lots of them if I have too many. And then also soy. I was on a vegan diet, I should say. Soy, I ended up having too much, and I have quite an intolerance for that now, so I really try to avoid that whenever I can. Okay, so that is the 11 questions I've answered. I'm going to pass that on to the next person to answer, so go on and see these other channels and say I said hello again. Thank you for listening, guys. I will see you in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.